Now, so it's interesting, like, what is the next iteration? Because we're a tabloid country, we're a celebrity-obsessed culture. Where does that go? Like, where do people get totally turned off by that eventually? And what is because here's what I'm watching now. I'm starting to kind of watch like Jeffree Star, who's this trans, very wealthy guy on YouTube, is huge. And like, I don't watch it, but I like try to keep tabs on what's going on like, because in LA, it's hard to ignore like the hype beasts, these kids that buy sneakers and shirts.
They stole my phone.
Yeah, they stole your phone. I try to do that on stage when I do your accent and everything, where it's like, I was like, I'd buy a goddamn hype beast. But the reality is there's an interesting level of materialism. Like Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson just released this conspiracy theory, I believe, like line of makeup.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. They did this thing on YouTube called Conspiracy Theories, where they investigate conspiracy theories. I don't know if you're familiar with this. This is this guy Jeffree Star is I mean, look him up. Look up Jeffree Star. We're talking about massive. We're talking about in terms of YouTube numbers. You know, maybe one of the biggest YouTubers. So Jeffree Star, just to give you an idea, his channel, he got 16.7 million subscribers. Okay,
how much?
16.7 million.
So what?
And now Shane Dawson, who's like,
oh wow, this is a trans person.
Yeah, and then Shane Dawson, you know, you're looking at his channel. He's got 23 million subscribers. So then he did this. They do this thing. You know, conspiracy theories.
Cheetos makeup, is it Jeffree Star approved?
So here's what's interesting about all this stuff. This kind of rampant materialism,
right?
Which I've noticed. Like,
well, there's also that makeup kid. What's that guy's name? That young kid?
Yeah, I don't know. But
he gets like 7 million like viewers.
There seems to be a real obsession.
Yeah,
with makeup, with accessories, with clothing. That, by the way, there was always fashion when I grew up. There was always like the idea Gucci and Prada and whatever.
Hilfiger, yeah.
You know, and then there was always styles. There was, you know, I grew up with like baggy jeans, and then eventually it was Jenkos. Like materialism.
I had a starter jacket.
Yes, the materialism isn't new, but there's this new iteration of it,
right?
And it's very interesting, and I wonder where that goes.
Well, look, it's crazy. I wonder if, because look, you watch these guys and like and these makeup kids and like the plastic level of it, and like and like I don't think most of the people watching it are like when I watch that video, I feel sick, not because the guy is like, you know, has style or is glamorous, but just like it's all so fake and weird, and I get depressed.
Right,
like, this is what kids are like. I don't think kids. I think it's just more like I think a lot of the kids are just watching it and going like, yeah, they're not really. But that being said, like
it's so fake, it's so overdone, it's so over the top. What is the attraction to that? Is it because there's such an emptiness all around us that the idea that something is so almost like it's like a fairy tale, or it's like the way people are made up? It's like they're so.
Well, look at pop music, right?
They almost look mystical. I don't know. Are they? Is this a thing of? Is this an offshoot of comic book movies?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, look at pop music, right?
Yeah.
And the way we like when our generation had it.
And you're coming to LA. You are opening for Doja Cat.
Of course.
A lot of people think that I'm lying about that, but you are opening for Doja.
No, I've been asked Doja. Yeah.
How did you meet her?
Well, I was at an Arby's.
Yeah,
and I was throwing up in the bathroom. And
now, was it bad meat or was it too much?
I think I say too much.
Okay.
And she's banging on the door like I gotta take a shit.
Right.
And I come out and I go, you look famous or something? And she's like, bitch, I'm Doja Cat. I'm like, Tim Dillon talks about you.
Oh.
And she goes, what that greasy motherfucker?
Yeah, she said faggot. Don't put your tongue back in your mouth. I saw what she said.
I said fat, but whatever. We got some drinks and
you get some Hennessy.
A little bit.
You got a little Henny.
Yeah, a little Henny.
She got a little Henny with her. And Doja Cat drinking Henny and paper cups and Arby's.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she said, "Why don't you know? Are you going to do music? What are you going to do?"
I'm going to do my synth music, but also like I make electronic music. Everyone knows that. And I'm going to do like spoken word over it.
We got to do a show in LA where you just do synth music with spoken word. I'm not even kidding.
I'll do it.
It'd be amazing. So what are you trying to say?
All right, so we grew up, right? Let's look at in the generation of the boomers too.
Yeah.
So look, the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and like they were good musicians, right? But then you have like the generation after, like the Van Halens, and I'm saying like they were like we grew up in the '90s with grunge, Nirvana, right? And Nirvana was kind of legit, like they was a troubled guy, but all the other bands around them, there was a definite currency in authenticness, whatever you want to refer to that.
Yeah, the right.
And like whether it was horse shit, but there was a value to that, and you needed to have it. And even pop music at the time wasn't as much that, but like Milli Vanilli, like when they found that they lip synced, they were shunned, right? And that's gone now. Like, like anyone caring if anyone like I'm not even saying that no one's authentic, but that no one cares if you are. That's not part of the deal. Maybe in country music.
Part of I think you're absolutely right. Part of the attraction to a lot of these people is that they do style themselves as, I don't want to use the word freaks in a negative way, but like people that are so over the top,
right,
and so out of this world that you wouldn't necessarily, like they're glamorous, they're luxurious, as your buddy ContraPoint's opulence, like the idea of it just being it's just overkill.
You know what bugs me about it? You look at Ziggy Stardust or like Aladdin Sane, like Bowie's different looks and personalities. And he was doing it in a time when like no one necessarily wanted it. It was weird. Like so much of this stuff now, it's like no one even, like there's no one said. I mean, yeah, I'm sure like there's fucking pastors out there going, "This is the devil."
Do you think part of it is that people have actually gotten pretty boring, and they're actually trying to figure out a way to seem unique and different?
100%.
But that social media and technology has kind of flattened people, whereas people and they're corralled very easily into all liking one thing, so that individuality's kind of been destroyed.
Well,
so the only way to do it is to just paint yourself.
I mean, I see it myself. Like I and some of it's just, me being a blowhard idiot, but I'm a more relatively nuanced person, and I'm not I have good tweets sometimes, and then people, stuff resonates.
Sir,
but
you instruct your client to answer the question. The question was, when was the last time he saw the victim of this crime? He has said he's a nuanced person and that he has good tweets. The question was, when is the last time you saw the victim of this crime?
Arbus.
All right, keep going.
No, my point is it's what's rewarded, generally speaking, is more monosyllabic or more like things that are just kind of more digestible. So that's one element of it. But it's also, we were talking before, like Lizzo was great. And like a lot of these people, Doja Cat's, she's good. But like, it's not Whitney Houston.
Right.
And then Aretha Franklin. Like, there isn't like, I don't know where.
Well, because so much of it now goes into the marketing. A lot of it is the marketing, and it's not so much. I mean, I think it's interesting. And I think, so what you see now is you see it on the left and the right, you see like these discredited ideas, whether it's communism or whether it's fascism or whether it's, white supremacy or whether it's these Jew conspiracy theories, like Jewish conspiracy theories. Sorry. But they all come back. We all, and there's something interesting about the idea that maybe we are reaching the end of a stage, and that because technology has gotten, that we are going to, technology's become so, powerful, that the next stage of our life is going to be unlike any that we could imagine. Like, it's not going to be, because we seem to be in a loop where we're just we have the same problems we had 100 years ago, other than that have been made better by technology or medicine or whatever. Yeah, we have the same issues with each other. We have the same problems. We have a lot of the same conspiracy theories. We have the same fears. We have the same. Maybe at a certain point, it's just we're on the verge of taking that next leap into whatever the future is going to be, and it might be where the human era is over.
I mean, it's interesting because I'm never going to be one of those guys like who, is it too much not opulence, but like permissiveness in society and all this shit. But there is something weird that happens when the permissiveness, or whatever you want to call it, or just the lack of taboo in society, means that art has no more power. There is no potency to art ever anymore. Right. Like, there's really almost nothing you can do to shock And not that you want like shock effect in art per se, but that even South Park, which is great and still brilliant, isn't really shocking people. There's no sting to things.
I would say that I think it's a great point about the permissiveness in society, but it's also what happens when the satire becomes the news. Like Trump is the president. Kim Kardashian is at the White House campaigning for.
Well, that's more like the overstimulation and the over. Yeah.
There isn't. I mean, all of the possibilities, or many of them, have been realized. I mean, we are at a point now where to satirize, or you can't heighten anything anymore. We've talked about that,
right? And
you just wonder at a certain point where it's like, how the human race in general. It's like are we at the furthest we can go?
If you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that, and then press play on your phone.